Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that has sparked endless discussions in forums, on Reddit threads, and amongst Linux enthusiasts around the world. The topic for this video is Top Linux Desktops, ranked for 2026. The winner is unexpected. Over the next several thousand words, we are going to explore not just the usual suspects, but the real performers, the dark horses, and the desktop environments and distributions that are truly shaping the Linux experience in 2026. Before we get into the ranking itself, we need to set the stage by talking about what we mean by Linux desktops in 2026. The Linux ecosystem isn't static, it evolves year by year. New versions of environments like KDE Plasma, GNOME, XFCE, and others push forward. Distributions such as Ubuntu, Fedora, Manjaro, KDE Neon, Pop_OS, and Elementary OS adjust and iterate. So by Linux desktops, I mean the combined experience of a distribution plus its default desktop environment, including everything from aesthetics and performance to usability and stability. Let's start by acknowledging that Linux on the desktop in 2026 is stronger than it's ever been. Back in the early days, Linux desktops were niche and rough around the edges. But in 2026, Linux desktops power everything from powerful developer machines to everyday personal computers. Distributions like Ubuntu, Fedora, and Manjaro have large user bases and excellent community support. At the same time, newer offerings like Elementary OS Pop_OS and KDE Neon are raising the bar with polished, modern experiences. So I've spent countless hours testing these environments across every category that matters: responsiveness, aesthetics, customization, resource usage, hardware compatibility, software availability, and overall polish. I've installed each distribution fresh, gone through typical desktop workflows, and stressed them with real-world tasks: video editing, gaming, coding, media playback, virtual machines, and more. The result of those tests is this ranking. Let's begin with the distribution that scrapes the bottom of the barrel in this top list, but it still manages to impress relative to many other Linux desktops out there. That distribution is Fedora Workstation with GNOME 46. Yes, Fedora Workstation remains a strong entry even near the bottom. Fedora Workstation in 2026 ships GNOME 46, which brings better performance and a more flexible desktop than GNOME 44 or 45 did in previous years. Fedora Workstation's implementation of GNOME 46 has polished animations, improved multitasking views, and a focus on workflow productivity. Fedora Workstation's GNOME 46 still demands more system resources than lightweight desktops like XFCE or LXQT, but it compensates with a modern app ecosystem that Fedora Workstation curates aggressively. Up-to-date packages straight from upstream, and outstanding Wayland support on Fedora Workstation. In day-to-day use, Fedora Workstation feels snappy and stable, but it's not the most customizable out of the box. GNOME 46 on Fedora Workstation deliberately hides complexity for simplicity. If you like tweaking every component of your desktop, Fedora Workstation's GNOME 46 may feel limiting. Nevertheless, Fedora Workstation's integration with GNOME 46 is seamless and reliable. Software updates on Fedora Workstation are frequent and smooth, and Fedora Workstation's community support is top-notch. So kickstarting our ranking with Fedora Workstation and GNOME 46 makes sense. It's impressive, but compared to what comes next, it lands just below the mid-pack. Just above Fedora Workstation on our 2026 list sits Ubuntu with the GNOME 46 desktop as well. Ubuntu's implementation of GNOME 46 takes the base strengths of GNOME and shapes them into something a bit more welcoming for general users. Ubuntu's GNOME 46 features tweaks to the dock, improved touchpad gestures, and better out-of-the-box support for popular codecs and drivers. Ubuntu's Software Center on its GNOME 46 desktop showcases snap packages more prominently than other distributions, which is a point of debate in the Linux community. Some users appreciate the ease and sandboxing of snaps, while others criticize their performance relative to native packages. Regardless, Ubuntu's GNOME 46 desktop feels approachable for newcomers and experienced users alike because Ubuntu has done a lot of the heavy UI lifting for you. Ubuntu's hardware support on GNOME 46 is also excellent, benefiting from Ubuntu's long track record of onboarding drivers quickly. Ubuntu's GNOME 46 desktop handles hybrid graphics gracefully, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth peripherals are typically functional out of the box. Moreover, Ubuntu's GNOME 46 setup provides access to PPAs and backports that can deliver even newer software when you want it. But even with these strengths, Ubuntu GNOME 46 still isn't the most lightweight or the fastest. And with stiff competition from the desktops we'll discuss next, especially those that focus heavily on performance and customization, Ubuntu sits just above Fedora Workstation in the rankings. Moving up into the true mid-tier Linux desktops of 2026, we come to Manjaro Linux with XFCE 4.18. When I say XFCE, I mean the classic lightweight desktop environment that continues to evolve. XFCE 4.18 on Manjaro Linux is an absolute joy for those who want speed without sacrificing features. Manjaro Linux's XFCE edition provides a carefully tuned environment where menus are responsive, animations are subtle, and workflows are fast. Manjaro Linux takes the strengths of XFCE low memory usage, stable configuration panels, and sensible defaults, and blends them with excellent driver support and the Arch-based rolling release model. If you're a power user or someone who wants a lean Linux desktop with no compromises on responsiveness, Manjaro Linux with XFCE 4.18 is hard to beat. Applications launch quickly, resource usage stays low even with multiple apps open, and Manjaro Linux's update system keeps everything current. There are occasional hiccups with the rolling release if you push too many bleeding-edge packages at once, but Manjaro Linux's team mitigates instability better than most. That's why Manjaro Linux with XFCE 4.18 solidly earns its place in the mid-tier. It's fast, flexible, and still friendly enough for users transitioning from macOS or Windows. Just above Manjaro Linux with XFCE is OpenSUSE Tumbleweed with KDE Plasma 6. KDE Plasma 6 on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is an absolute powerhouse. KDE Plasma has always been one of the most customizable desktops in the Linux world, and Plasma 6 brings modern visuals, advanced window management, and an ecosystem of apps that feel both mature and fresh. On OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, KDE Plasma 6 runs with incredible stability because OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is a rolling release that undergoes rigorous automated testing before publishing updates. On OpenSUSE Tumbleweed with KDE Plasma 6, you get desktop effects that are elegant without being distracting, widgets that provide useful information at a glance, and system settings that allow you to tailor everything from animations to behavior with precision. KDE Plasma 6 on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed also shines in hardware support. Thanks to OpenSUSE's robust package ecosystem and KDE's own developer community, drivers for laptops, GPUs, and peripherals are usually available immediately. And software like KDE Connect, Discover Software Center, and Dolphin File Manager all perform exceptionally well in this environment. For users who love to customize and want a balance of power and polish, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed's KDE Plasma 6 edition is an easy choice. Now we're getting into the upper echelon of Linux desktops for 2026, ranked above OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, with KDE Plasma 6, but just below our unexpected winner, we have KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6. KDE Neon is a distribution built by the KDE community itself. Its sole purpose is to provide the latest KDE Plasma environment as cleanly and quickly as possible. KDE Neon's KDE Plasma 6 experience is one of the slickest you'll find because it's essentially the flagship showcase of what KDE can do. KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6 delivers not only the freshest KDE Plasma releases, but also the tightest integration between the distribution base and the environment. Unlike many distributions where Plasma is just one choice among many, KDE Neon revolves entirely around Plasma and KDE applications. What that means for you is that KDE Neon typically gets the newest features in KDE Plasma before anyone else. Things like improvements to KRunner, revamped system settings modules, and enhanced Wayland support arrive early on KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6. The performance of KDE Neon's KDE Plasma 6 desktop is excellent. KDE Plasma has come a long way in efficiency, requiring far less RAM and CPU than in previous generations, and KDE Neon ensures that reality is reflected. Applications open quickly, animations are smooth, and KDE Neon's implementation of Wayland is one of the most stable you can run in 2026. KDE Neon's only potential downside is that because it gets updates rapidly, there can occasionally be minor bugs shortly after a new KDE Plasma 6 feature lands. But overall, KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6 is a delight and definitely worthy of high ranking. At this point you might be thinking, those are great desktops? But what could possibly be the first place? The answer is something that has quietly but confidently stolen the top of the Linux desktop experience in 2026. Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop. Pop_OS is a distribution made by System76, and in 2026 its Cosmic Desktop has matured into something exceptional. Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop blends the best of many worlds. It takes the user-friendliness of GNOME, the flexibility of tiling window managers, and adds its own spin with workflows that feel natural and powerful. Cosmic feels polished like a premium desktop environment. Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop ships with thoughtful defaults that help both new users and seasoned pros feel productive right away. Performance on Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop is excellent even on modest hardware. Pop_OS's custom tiling features mean you can manage windows more efficiently without third-party extensions or manual tweaking. Pop_OS's Cosmic Desktop also integrates beautifully with System76's hardware, though it runs great on any modern PC. The built-in support for hybrid graphics in Pop_OS is top tier, and Pop_OS makes switching between performance and battery-saving modes painless. On top of that, Pop_OS's software center and curated repos make installing apps or drivers smooth and secure. What really pushes Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop into that unexpected #1 spot is how it balances innovation with usability. Cosmic isn't just a new skin slapped on an existing environment. Pop_OS's Cosmic Desktop represents a holistic rethinking of how desktop workflows should feel in 2026. It's fast yet intuitive, customizable yet cohesive, and it rarely asks you to compromise between power and simplicity. As I used Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop over weeks of productivity work, creative tasks, coding, virtualization, gaming, and media consumption, it never felt like it was holding me back. Every interaction felt smooth and intentional. Pop_OS's tiling logic in Cosmic feels like it was designed with real multitasking in mind. Something that many traditional desktop environments sort of approach, but never quite perfect. In contrast to that, Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop nails it. So what does this mean for you? If you're new to Linux in 2026 and you want the best possible desktop experience out of the box without hours of customization, Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop is where you're going to be happiest. If you like to tweak every corner of your desktop, KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6 gives you that power. If you want something stable and cutting edge at the same time, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed with KDE Plasma 6 is excellent. For users who want lightweight performance with real usability, Manjaro Linux with XFCE 4.18 stands tall. And Ubuntu with GNOME 46 or Fedora Workstation with GNOME 46 remain solid defaults that will serve most users very well. Now let's talk a bit about how desktop hardware influences these experiences. Plenty of distributions and desktops in 2026 perform differently depending on your machine. Lightweight environments like XFCE on Manjaro Linux excel on older laptops or machines with limited RAM. KDE Plasma 6 on KDE Neon or OpenSUSE Tumbleweed scales incredibly well both on older hardware and brand new high-end systems, thanks to Plasma's configurability. Pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop benefits from hardware acceleration and optimized drivers, particularly on NVIDIA GPUs, but it also runs smoothly with Intel and AMD graphics. On laptops with hybrid graphics setups, Pop_OS's power profiles and GPU switching tools make everyday use significantly smoother than many competitors. We should also touch on software availability. In 2026, the Linux desktop ecosystem has never been healthier. Ubuntu's Snap Store and Fedora Workstation's Flatpak ecosystem have made installing software easier even for beginners. Pop_OS and KDE Neon support both Snap and Flatpak, and distributions like OpenSUSE Tumbleweed and Manjaro Linux have robust repositories with native packages. Availability of popular tools, like the latest IDEs, creative software, and gaming platforms such as Steam Proton, is excellent across all top distributions. Pop_OS's Cosmic Desktop makes installing gaming tools and setting up Proton seamless, which is a boon if you use Linux for gaming as well as productivity. Accessibility and internationalization in 2026 are also areas where the top Linux desktops shine. GNOME 46 on Ubuntu and Fedora Workstation have improved screen reader support and multilingual keyboards out of the box. KDE Plasma 6 on KDE Neon or OpenSUSE Tumbleweed has advanced accessibility tools that rival other operating systems and pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop continues to refine UI clarity and text scaling for users with visual needs. Linux desktops in 2026 are truly inclusive. In conclusion, ranking the top Linux desktops for 2026 was a challenging but rewarding task. The competition is fierce and every entry in this list has demonstrated real excellence. Fedora Workstation with GNOME 46 and Ubuntu with GNOME 46 provide reliable and approachable desktops for mainstream users. Manjaro Linux with XFCE 4.18 delivers speed and efficiency with a user-friendly spirit. OpenSUSE Tumbleweed and KDE Neon with KDE Plasma 6 bring customization and polish that power users will love. But the unexpected winner, pop_OS with Cosmic Desktop, combines performance, innovation, and usability in a way that genuinely sets a new standard for Linux desktops in 2026. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Linux desktops, leave a comment with your favorite distribution and desktop environment. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Linux content. Until next time, happy computing on your favorite Linux desktop.